So we'll see what Disney ends up doing with Star Wars. It'll be interesting to see.
Yep.
It's kind of a clean slate now because I don't know if there's anything else besides the movies actively in development as far as streaming shows go. They might be pumping
are the
brakes.
movies that they're...
Oh, geez. What do they got?
There's got to be a Mandalorian one, right?
Yeah, I think that's next, Mandalorian Grogu. And then there's something called Star Wars Starfighter, which I think stars Ryan Gosling and Mia Goth, I think.
Okay.
And then I think there's an Old Republic series or a trilogy coming, and that's just the ones off the top of my head. So, but I don't know of any other streaming shows in active development except for maybe Ahsoka Season 2. I don't know if there's anything else right now. I could be wrong, but
okay.
It looks like Disney might be actually pumping the brakes on streaming shows.
That's good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's good and it's bad, but like, I think that they just need to calm down and not pump out like everything and just focus on quality.
I agree. Disney finally settled that deal with Comcast. Hopefully they can start making some money soon instead of just digging this massive hole with Hulu and everything. So it should be interesting to see what the future brings. I think Disney might be finally getting a new CEO, so we'll see what stays and what goes.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's going to be a whole shakeup of properties over the next few years. I bet some stuff's going to get cut. I wouldn't actually be surprised if Disney sold Lucasfilm. I actually wouldn't be surprised.
Honestly, I think at this point that they have like way too much on their plate.
Yeah.
But, you know, I don't know if they're like, I would be curious to know what their sales are from like merchandise and also, because do they have any theme, like Star Wars theme parks or anything like that? I swear there was one.
Yeah, just like a little, it's called Galaxy's Edge. It's in Disneyland and Disney World. It's just like an area.
Okay, so it's nothing. It's nothing like major.
It's not very well received. Like, you know, people have kind of split opinions on it. They didn't base it on any of the pre-existing planets or worlds. They did their own thing, which was really polarizing.
Oh, okay, yeah. But here's the other question: is like who would purchase like Star Wars? I don't think anyone would really touch it because like what did they pay for it? Like something like $4 billion.
Yeah, but I don't think it's worth. Is it? I should know this, but I don't think it's worth $4 billion now.
Yeah, well, after Disney put its touches on it, so yeah, no, definitely not. But I don't know. At the end of the day, what they should do is just like go reach out to George Lucas and be like, "Hey, you want to come back on as director of like Star Wars? Like, you don't have to necessarily write and make all the films, but just be the guy who's like, do we really want George Lucas back?" I don't know.
I bet Apple could do a good job with Star Wars. I don't know why.
Okay, yeah.
I feel like they have the money and they've put out some pretty good content. I'd be curious to see what. Like, I bet they could pull off an Andor-esque thing.
You know, the other day I was saying about Apple TV is they have become like the new HBO.
Interesting. I can see that, yeah.
Where they're just like, they're not pumping out a whole ton of shows, but like the shows that they are pumping out are very high quality.
They really are, yeah. Interesting.
Maybe
you heard it here,
maybe HBO could buy Star Wars.
I don't think HBO can afford Star Wars.
No, I don't think so either. And it'll be real curious to see what happens with the new James Gunn Superman and all that stuff that's going to be coming out here right away.
Oh my goodness, that's a whole
there
other
is
thing,
a lot riding on that movie. And again, Dan, let me ask you this question quickly here. So let's say Superman comes out and it is a gigantic flop. What do you think is going to happen to like the DC universe? Is it going to go on hiatus?
No, I don't think so. I think it'll actually continue because they restructured so much and changed so much that they won't be able to pivot again so soon. I think it would take 2 or 3 movies flopping before they really had to restructure and fire James Gunn and whatnot. So even if Superman underperforms, they still have to play the long game on this one because I can see them making a Marvel-esque excuse of like, this movie did bad, but this one made $2 billion. So, like, I definitely think my box office predictions for Superman are quite high. I'm thinking 500 to 700 million personally.
Okay.
Granted that it's a good movie, right? But based on the trailers and reactions and it's a very different tone than we've ever gotten from Superman in live action, and I think that's going to draw people in. I think it might even crack 1 billion, to be honest. I know that's optimistic, but like it might have the Guardians of the Galaxy effect where it just crushes, it has a really long staying power. But if for some reason only makes 300 million, I think they're too deep to pivot right away. It would have to take a couple movies.
Yeah, well, just something to think about. I'm very curious. I think that is going to be the storyline I'm following closely whenever the new Superman drops.
Yeah, totally. Not long to go. Just another month.
Yeah. We're entering into the summer of movies here in July, and all the good stuff is starting to come out here. So very
Superman,
exciting.
Jurassic Park, Fantastic Four. It was funny after we did that podcast episode about all the upcoming stuff that's coming out this year, like all the sequels and stuff. I realized how many things we didn't even talk about in that episode.
Yeah, well, I kept saying that during that episode. Is like I feel like we're missing stuff here. So
that was more so like
surprised.
Sequels and prequels and stuff. But there's so much more. My goodness.
Yeah, there's a lot, and also because we had COVID, and then we had the writer's block, so there was just this huge log jam that happened, and now everything is just starting to get released. But hey, still no second the Batman.
No, not yet, but I bet you $5 Canadian that Robert Pattinson Batman will be joining James Gunn's universe.
Do you think so?
I do.
Because I was hearing some things that they're saying that like the second Batman movie might not even happen.
Interesting.
Like the director has been so annoyed because he's been trying to get I think Robert Pattinson on to start filming, and not only that, but I think studios have been pushing it back in terms of going for other IPs like the newer DC stuff. So I don't know.
Interesting. I think, I'm going to stand by it because I'm just from reading the tea leaves online, the kind of things James Gunn's been saying about the script and how important it is to the future of the DC universe. Either it's going to get branded as like an Elseworld story, or Robert Pattinson is the new Batman, which I think I'm okay with. They could probably find a more charismatic Bruce Wayne, but obviously.
No,
but
I in my opinion, I think this is it's been a nice fresh take on the Batman,
so
because it's not focusing on the Bruce Wayne, and it's focusing more on Batman, because the way that they portrayed Bruce Wayne is that Bruce Wayne is Batman, but I think it's the other where the Batman is Bruce Wayne. The Batman is who he is at the core of his being, and Bruce Wayne is his alter ego, and that's what the Batman kind of explored. So I really like this take on it, and I hope they kind of keep that.
Yeah, I like that it was the first Batman movie that really showed just how messed up a person would have to be to do this Batman gig. You have to be a very troubled and odd person to spend your nights, putting on eye makeup and a costume and going around beating people up. The whole premise is very messed up, let alone the fact that he's in control of billions. And I think this was the first believable Bruce Wayne to me, where I'm that's pretty much the personality type we're talking about when we're looking at this character. He's kind of a psychopath, and that's how he can understand psychopaths.
That's also how he can continue to push himself beyond his limits.
Yeah, because he's not okay. He needs some therapy. Also, speaking of which, I feel like Batman Forever deserves more credit. Just as a total segue, because that movie, even though it was the Joel Schumacher, corny, whatever, people, I would love to do an episode, a mainline episode on Batman Forever, because that movie really started to explore the psychology of who Bruce Wayne is under the hood by smartly pairing him up with Nicole Kidman's character, Dr. Chase, and him kind of facing these weird demons. There's this interesting deleted scene that's pretty infamous from Batman Forever, where he's confronting this giant animatronic bat in a cave. And they built this massive, 7-foot tall bat with leather wings and everything. And there's a scene of Val Kilmer just facing it, and it just you'd really just start to understand just how unwell Bruce Wayne is at the heart of it.
Dan, so I just looked it up. We got a Tato-meter reading. Sorry, I don't know why I said that so weird.
Tato.
A Tato-meter of 39% and a popcorn meter of 33%. So we can add it to the list. We're doing it.
I'm not saying another word about it. I love Batman Forever, unironically, and I will defend it to the death. So we got to do it. Okay. Sorry, before I go even further down that rabbit hole, $5 Canadian dollars that Robert Pattinson becomes the DC Batman.
I will take that bet. Because and keep in mind, I haven't read anything online or anything. Just my general sense is that, also I don't really know what the tone of this new Superman movie is, but for some reason I just can't see that version of Batman fitting into this new DC universe, just because of how dark and edgy he is. So I mean, I'm not opposed to it, and if he ends up being in the new DC universe, I think it's awesome. But I just don't see how it's going to fit.
Well, so it's the Star Wars problem, right?
Yeah.
It's the Star Wars problem all over again, because you have this new Superman movie, which looks very vibrant, very bright, very colorful, very saturated. Metropolis looks like a nice place. And then you have Gotham, which is just like a dark, giant, grimy shithole.
Yeah.
And so it's like, well, how do you like your DC, sir? Do you like bright, colorful, and vibrant? Or do you like dark, gothic shithole?
Yeah.
Because, like, James Gunn smartly did not put the kibosh on the Penguin series or on Batman Part 2 because he sees something there worth keeping.
Yeah.
But, like, a Batman-Superman movie, that doesn't work right now. So something has to change. So, Snyder... I'm not a Zack Snyder defender by any means, but at least those worlds felt unified. Yeah. So I don't know how that works. It's the Star Wars problem all over again right now. So
very curious.
Very, very curious.
I will also say just one last thing on the Batman movie.
Yeah.
Don't know why. I just want to state that, like, at the beginning, I had my doubts about Robert Pattinson, but throughout the whole entire series, the movie, he redeemed himself.
Yeah.
And also, I just think that, like, the more things that I find out about Robert Pattinson, the more I like him.
Yeah.
He's very much like Daniel Radcliffe to me. Like, he's almost kind of gone that way. Rather than after he was in this major franchise, then keep doing, like, all these weird franchise movies, he went to the weird indie route instead. And I really appreciate that, because at the end of the day, it was just kind of like, hey, like, I'm going to take on projects that I find interesting and not necessarily the ones that are going to make me into a huge successful movie star. So Robert Pattinson, even though I think the majority of us were skeptical about him being Batman, I'd be okay with it if he joined the whole DC universe.
Totally. And I even thought, like, Zoe Kravitz as Selena Kyle was a fantastic choice.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Knocked it out of the park. Definitely the most comic accurate, I think, Selena Kyle I've seen on film. So that was awesome. I think my only criticism...
What about the one from that show Gotham? You didn't like that one?
No, don't even say the word Gotham to me. It's triggering.
God, I hate that show.
After watching the masterpiece that is Penguin, I was like, man, this is what Gotham should have been, but it didn't have the balls or the permission to.
Oh my gosh, I hated that. Like, Bruce Wayne was just a whiny little bitch the entire time.
Gotham's dead to me, honestly. I'll never even. I haven't thought about it in so long. I'm having like flashbacks.
Yeah, and
remember the recast they did because they wanted to like sexy up the actresses, so they recast Poison Ivy to be like 20 years old instead of 12 or whatever.
Oh no, I don't remember that at all.
Just the worst.
Yeah, and that Penguin, that was like the worst Penguin that I have ever seen.
Yeah, absolutely dreadful.
And Riddler too. Yeah,
all of them just trash. Throw it in the trash. My only criticism of Robert Pattinson's Batman, and it's a very like surface level criticism, is I just wished he looked more physically imposing. Because he's doing hand-to-hand combat with just, every thug in Gotham. But Robert Pattinson's, he's not like, he's a lean, fit guy, but he's not like when I think of like Batman, I think of like what is it, that Jack Reacher guy?
Oh yeah. Okay.
Someone who's just built like a brick shit house.
Alan Richardson?
Yes, that guy.
Yeah.
That's what's missing for me in terms of the look.
Mm-hmm.
They do a lot of great cinematography to make like the bat suit look great and to make him physically imposing in the suit.
Mm-hmm.
But when he's not in the suit, he's just kind of a string bean. And that kind of bugs me because like, you know, technique and gadgets can only take you so far. Like if you're not strong enough to deal with these people, you're just not strong enough. And because Batman is such a grounded, like, you know, hand-to-hand combatant, it just kind of bugs me that it doesn't sell me that he's like, I don't know, it's hard to explain because you have like, there's different ways of approaching Batman. You can do like ninja style Batman, or you can do like the Frank Miller style Batman where it looks like he can, you know, rip a phone book in half. It's just, you got to find a balance there. And I don't know if he's found it yet. So I'm curious if they bulk him up or what.
I was going to say, Robert Pattinson would have made a terrific, like, Terry McGinnis for a Batman Beyond.
Totally.
He would have, right? Like, he's got the body type for that. He's young enough. Like, he would have killed in that role. But for whatever reason, I don't know why they don't make, like, a Batman Beyond. Even if it's just an animated movie. That is one thing that keeps surprising me, is that we haven't gotten anything related to Batman Beyond. And that was such a good franchise.
Is it a rights thing or something? Like, why are they so allergic to it? It's the easiest thing in the world to write. Yeah. It's funny. As soon as you mentioned Batman Beyond, I just thought of our idea for like future Mission Impossible movies. It's basically Ethan Hunt Beyond.
Yeah.
You have Ethan Hunt in his, you know, sitting at a computer just helping him out. But I know, I don't get it. It must be a rights issue or like some sort of...
I wonder. I know there was a little while ago, there was talks of, I think it was the same people who did the animation for Into the Spider-Verse wanted to do a Batman Beyond movie, but like Warner Brothers were like, no, like we don't want it. Which is like insane to me. I don't understand it.
It writes itself. It would make, it would probably make 500 million at the box office. It would be so easy to write that movie.
Yeah.
The source material is so good.
Well, maybe one day. When they've exhausted everything else, which I feel like they're getting close to it, then they'll come out with a Batman Beyond.
Yeah, totally. But I'm glad you you see my point there. Like that's exactly what I feel like should have happened. But yeah, I don't know. It's a small nitpick, but you know, if we're going down the gritty, believable route, which Pattinson really is, I think they nailed the psychology, but physically, you know, you gotta make that make sense too. And I think
I want to see his abs. I want to see those pecs.
I guess in the climax he does get beat to hell, and he does have to take like presumably like the venom serum to like deal with the rest of those guys. So I guess there is an argument to be made there, but yeah, man, I love that Batman movie. Can I just say something about that Batman movie real quick?
Please. We've been onto like a rabbit trail here, like talking about Batman. Wasn't even on the agenda.
I know. We haven't even got... It's okay. We didn't get an episode out in May, so we're allowed to ramble.
Yeah.
The whole thing in that Batman movie is at the beginning of the movie, Bruce Wayne thinks that the Batman is about fear and about striking fear into the hearts of bad guys. But the movie ends with him realizing that it's more about being a symbol for hope. Yeah. And there's this one scene at the end of the movie where, you know, his Batarang is literally like the crest of his armor. Like he pulls off the bat symbol and that's like his Batarang. Well, there's that moment of self-sacrifice where he sees like the electrical cables and he actually pulls off the symbol of Batman. And that's when he cuts that wire, that's when Batman becomes a symbol of hope to those people rather than something they're afraid of. And that shot of him self-sacrificing himself in that lesson he learns, like the whole movie's in that one shot with the lighting, the duality of like him realizing, oh, it's not about fear, it's about hope. And just that act of that sacrificial act was just one of the best comic book moments I've seen in a long time. And I don't see it talked about enough. So anyway, I just wanted to mention that. Next time you watch that movie, really pay attention to that climax and what that, you know, the symbology of literally using the symbol that he stands for. It just was so cool. Such a cool moment.
talking about it now is making me want to go and watch that movie again.
I probably rewatched that Batman out of all the other Batman movies now, just because every time I watch it, I find something different to appreciate because there's such good character work and there's so many details and foreshadowing and it's just so rich. I mean, no wonder the second script is taking so long. He's probably afraid that he can't, match up to it or something.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'd rather have him take his time than pump out something crappy, right?
Yeah.
Well, Dan,
we got two more on the list here. Yeah. Nothing like a Batman segue.
Yeah, definitely. Let's jump into Sinners.
Let's do it.
We've been gone a long time. We back now. You twins? Nah, we cousins.
There are legends of people with the gift of making music so true. It can conjure spirits from the past and the future. This gift can bring fame and fortune.
Will somebody take me in your eyes?
But it also can pierce the veil between life and death.
Listen here, this ain't no house party. Shit. Y'all ready to drink? Y'all ready to sweat till y'all stink?
You want some?
You keep dancing with the devil.
Careful, boy. You gonna bite off more than you can chew.
One day he's gonna follow you home. We got us a problem, y'all.
So, what did you think?
I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. Yeah, I thought it was really, really good. There was certain things, like if there was certain few nitpicks I had about it. I didn't so much like the color grading on a lot of the movie, like the outdoor shots looked kind of something about the grading, like the palette. Something wasn't working for me visually, but all the nighttime stuff looked fantastic. But some of those day shots, I don't know what it was, just messed with my eyes a bit. And once it kind of went off the rails and became what it really is at the end there. I thought some of the dialogue was a little silly, but other than that, I thought it was a fantastic film. Yeah. Obviously, I'm treading lightly here because I don't want to say too much at first. So what did you think?
I overall really enjoyed it. It felt fresh.
Yeah.
Just like a fresh take on a vampire movie. Oh, is that a spoiler?
Well, I was going to say, like, I don't think it is, but I do envy anyone that got to the theater without knowing it was a vampire.
Oh, okay. Because I knew it was a vampire movie prior to going into it. And I'm someone who stays away from like spoilers. So if I knew it, I feel like everybody knew it.
Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan, they announced like 2 years ago that their next project was going to be a period piece vampire movie. So it wasn't for anyone paying attention, I don't think it was necessarily a surprise. But I know for a fact, because I heard people talking about it, like, I didn't know there was vampires in this.
Okay, yeah, they're just like...
Fair enough.
I think my favorite thing coming out of this movie was I saw it with a couple friends and they were like, dude, does Michael B. Jordan have a twin brother? And I just kept telling him yes. Like, yes, he does have a twin brother.
Yeah.
So I kept playing on that a little bit. But overall, I would say I really enjoyed this movie. Very original, very fresh. But my one bone to pick with this entire movie... know when they kind of get to that music scene where they're doing this, like the whole entire movie, it starts with like a monologue of like someone explaining what like this certain type of person from history is and how they could like bring people together through the power of music and stuff. And then later on in the movie, there's this whole scene where you're kind of seeing that like power of bringing people together through music comes. But it's such a small sample size. And so that was my biggest complaint of this movie, where it felt like they spent the entire movie like kind of hyping up whatever this like musical scene was going to be. And don't get me wrong, when they finally did show this like music scene where everybody gets kind of like interconnected or whatever, it was super cool. But then it was over and it was like, okay, like now let's go into slaying vampires. And I just kind of thought like, I would have liked to see a little bit more of that throughout there. Like I like, obviously, Dan, you're a musician.
Yeah.
I love music. We're both big fans of musicals. So this movie is like right up our alleys with like a monster horror music, like musical movie, right?
Oh yeah.
But for me, I think that like they could have focused on that a little more. I would have liked that to be a bigger part of the movie. But other than that, like, this movie was like, I want to say, pretty close to flawless, apart from like a few things.
Yeah, I agree. This was such a great theatrical experience, because the music was just thumping, and you really felt just pulled into this universe. And there was so much awesome, like symbology, about like, the duality, the red and blue, heaven and hell, saints and sinners. Everything. It reminded me kind of like Great Gatsby meets From Dusk Till Dawn in a way. Like, there was just so much going on. It's sitting on Rotten Tomatoes at 97% with a 96% critical rating. And I believe that this movie is the highest grossing original concept film of the year, and possibly in recent history. I think it's sitting at $358 million.
Which is insane.
Yeah, it's not a prequel. It's not a sequel. It's an original idea.
Yeah, because we're living in the day and age of just like rehashing old things. And so to come out with something completely new and have it be that much of a success is kind of unheard of, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought the music was incredible. I love the Irish slant of like the some of the vampires, and that clash of music going on. And there was an interesting idea of like historical timelines clashing, but it never really came to fruition. Like you're saying, like there's a glimpse of it and it's extraordinary, but it doesn't really go anywhere per se. Did you watch the post-credit sequence or the mid-credit sequence? Okay, perfect. So that was the only place to me where it kind of paid off, because there was a sense of like, almost like the vampires themselves represented sin, and it was like, sin's been with us for every generation, just like music. And there was a really neat through line there. And that final ending to me was just like the chef's kiss, because it just really buttoned up the story in such a poetic kind of way.
Buddy Guy.
Yeah, and then the Buddy Guy cameo, that was really cool.
Is that his actual name?
I hope so. I really do. I learned to play the guitar on blues guitar, and so for this movie was like a real treat to sit through. And I was trying to imagine watching it at home, like the kid's asleep and you can't crank up the music, and I was like, that would suck. So I'm really, really glad I saw it in the theater, because I don't think I'll get that experience again of just being engrossed in it, because it really does kind of take you away into this universe. And another thing I wanted to say about it too is the vampire rules are really amusing to me, and I find them very fascinating. I think back when we were, like a long time ago, when we were talking about Buffy the Vampire Slayer, we were talking about how you need to establish vampire rules and how it's really important to know what they are as an audience. Otherwise, it's just kind of confusing. It's almost like Santa Claus, where there's so many different ways of doing Santa Claus that you need to establish the flavor that you're doing in your movie, or else it's just going to confuse audiences.
Yeah.
And this movie, the whole sequence of like, not letting people into the barn or whatever, or needing permission to enter. I just thought that was so awesome. And I loved all the vampirisms, the lore building. It was just great, Aaron. It was so great. It's such a great movie.
His name is Buddy Guy.
Buddy Guy.
That's his blues name anyways.
Buddy Guy, man.
Yeah. So I was
incredible.
It was like somewhat right. Guy something, Buddy something. It was literally both of those.
Guy, Buddy. Oh yeah, Buddy Guy. Okay, fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's pretty funny. Yeah, no, it was definitely, after watching What We Do in the Shadows, I think that like whole being invited into a house rule has really taken off in vampire shows. And also, whenever people add that into their movies or into their IPs, it's always entertaining if it's done well, right? Because it's just kind of like, I don't know, like vampires are overpowered and everything, and like, but yet they can't come in unless they're invited. So
I love that.
I don't know. I really I enjoy that whole entire trope.
And obviously, not to overanalyze it, but the vampires, it's the same with sin, like in a biblical context of inviting sin into your life, and then it just burns your house down. It just runs amok if you let it. And, obviously we're both from like Christian upbringing and stuff. So seeing those parallels of like sin consuming you, and you can't, even if you try to run away from it, it'll just follow you and listen. Just so cool. So very cool. Vampires have such religious context to begin with.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've gotten a couple of really good vampire movies of the last couple of years. We had Nosferatu, and now we get Sinners. Vampires are back, baby.
I mean, I you know what? In terms of everything, like, all the movies that have been out there and all the IPs that have been coming out.
Yeah.
I feel that vampire, like, IPs have steadily been coming out.
Yeah.
Like, there's never been a dip in vampire movies. And you know what? I'm okay with that. For whatever reason, even though, and same, I think vampires, zombies, and I think really just those two, where you can make as many movies as you want, but there's enough variation of those that like you can make it your own, which I'm okay with.
Yeah.
The last thing I'll say is I about Sinners is I really do also enjoy the fact that they just went with this whole route of blues and everything going with it, because like there is always the like joke around blues or whatever it is, that you gotta like sell your soul to the devil to become a blues musician. Sorry, I can't talk.
Magician. No, it's magician. You're right. Yeah. I kept waiting for like a crossroads moment, but I think that'd be a little too on the nose.
Yeah.
But yeah, you meet the devil at the crossroads and you sell your soul to be good at the guitar or whatever, or to be famous or to be whatever.
I definitely thought there was going to be something along the lines of that, where, I don't know, becoming a vampire would improve his music or something like that. But definitely still very, very good movie. It seems like everyone has already seen this movie, but if you haven't, go check it out.
Well, I noticed earlier you referred to it as an IP, and that's a pretty good segue because Warner Brothers is having a fantastic year, and it's about to get even better. They want a sequel to this so badly. They're waving all sorts of numbers in front of Ryan Coogler, and he doesn't want to do it. He wants it to be a self-contained story, one and done, thank you very much.
Yes.
Which I really appreciate. We live in the day and age where if it's successful, there's sequels. That's just the way it is. That's just Hollywood now. So I know he doesn't want to do it, but Warner Brothers, they're going to want the rights to this, and they're going to want to make Sinners 2. They're going to, like this, or a TV show, something, I really hope Ryan Coogler just holds on to this and takes it to the grave, because it's such a well-told story. It's so self-contained. And Warner Brothers are desperate for more hits like this. And I just really hope that Sinners as an IP we can't just take every successful original movie and just explode it into sequels. So we'll see.
How about instead of making a sequel, you ask him to make another movie, another original idea movie, or find someone else that like has a really good idea of to create something. And rather than taking chances on sequels, let's just take chances on people and their original ideas.
I love that.
See where it goes.
People, not sequels.
Yeah,
dude, that's wonderful.
Did you just come up with a slogan right there, Dad? People, not
you did. You came up with it. Yeah, no, I love that. Wow.
Oh, that's hilarious.
I'm going to put that on a t-shirt.
Yeah, that'll be our first t-shirt we ever sell.
Yeah. Well, we got one more movie on the list here.
Yep.
And last, but certainly not least, from the world of John Wick, we have Ballerina.
In Slavic mythology, the Kikimara is a spirit that exists in the shadows. To those with darkness in their hearts, she can be vengeful. But to the innocent, she can be a protector. It's up to you to choose.
Welcome to the Continental. Checking in.
I'm looking for the tribe with this mark.
Needing to know is what got us banished from the Garden of Eden. Are you prepared to be cast out again, Eve?
Yes. I'd like to go hunting.
Will this be a large or small game hunt?
Large.
Ballerina is sitting on Rotten Tomatoes at 76%, a 93% audience score. But unfortunately, it is not doing very well at the box office. It is currently in 21st place this year at $55 million. Just slightly above, like $4 million above the Star Wars Episode 3 anniversary re-release.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, just to put it in perspective. And we've both seen this.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, I'm surprised that it's doing that bad.
Yeah.
Just from the world of John Wick, like how big those movies were and how well they were doing. Like this one, I would say, doesn't disappoint.
I was really curious to see this because as we talked about in one of our previous episodes, there's been so many attempts to make a female iteration of John Wick and like a Joan Wick kind of thing, you know, to capture that lightning in a bottle. And there's been varying degrees of success. But I was really curious to see how it would be coming right from the studio, right from the creative team, right set in the John Wick universe. It was like, okay, you know, if they can't do it, I'll do it myself. And they have announced a John Wick 5, which I think is a terrible idea, but because I just felt like it was done, right? But you know, Keanu's not getting any younger. The studio wants to keep making more money, and the best way they can do this is to bring in new characters, expand the universe, to start focusing on some spin-off characters, and hopefully have one of them hit to create the next big trilogy or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So pretty clear motives behind this one. Pretty crystal clear. But that being said, I really liked it. I thought it was really well done, and I wanted to get your thoughts.
Yeah, no, I guess I might dip into a little bit of spoilers here. So if anyone hasn't seen it again, I would recommend jumping ahead.
Spoilers.
Yeah, spoiler alert. No, this movie was really good. I think for me, one of the things that kind of took me out of it is when they actually had John Wick in the movie. For some reason, it just didn't feel like he needed to be in this movie, but they just kind of put him in the movie because, you know, he is the face of the franchise.
Yeah.
And not only that, but like they didn't even put him in the movie in a way that would, like, I guess, add to the lore of John Wick. And it was just more so kind of look like fan service. But overall, like Ana de Armas, she killed it.
Yeah.
I said to you before we started watching this movie, watching her kick ass for like an hour and a half is like, 2 hours is like never a bad thing. And so like I enjoyed that part of it. The whole thing with John Wick movies is there's like a certain plausibility to the movies, right? Where like you're like, okay, this could exist, this could be real. You see it in the stunts, you see it in the way that they train, everything that they do, all the fight scenes and stuff. And so one of the things that I really liked is at the beginning when she's like going through her training montage or whatever you want to call it, they're like, hey, like you're a girl, like you got to do whatever means necessary to like win the fight. And I don't know, I just thought that was like really, really cool because from that point on, we just see her kick the shit out of so many people in different ways and use everything at her disposal to like kick the shit out of people. And so that is one thing that I really, really enjoyed, where John Wick is more kind of like Keanu Reeves just kicking ass and he's a total badass and can do anything and is just like, I don't know, like basically a superhero, right?
Yeah.
You know, he falls off a building and he still gets up. But with the Ballerina movie, it was more so they had to get a little bit more creative in the way that she was going to take people out.
Yeah,
and
totally.
To me, that made the movie a lot more interesting because she was coming up with like creative ways of murdering people, right? And I don't know, you can only watch someone do like a somersault and then point their gun and shoot them in the head a couple times, like so many times. Then you're just kind of like, okay, I've seen this. Or you can only watch someone get beat up so much before you're like, I can't take this anymore. Yeah. And so I feel that the Ballerina movie was the right balance between all of that.
Yeah, totally.
And I don't know if that's specifically because it was like a female cast and they just didn't want to show her because she does get her ass kicked in this movie, but I would say it's not nearly as much as John Wick did in those movies.
Yeah, totally. Well, the thing that was refreshing too is she used, like, nothing was off the table with her. She used everything in her arsenal. And I like how she leaned into different kinds of weapons that John Wick doesn't typically do.
Yeah.
Like, she was heavily into explosives, lots of grenades, some of the funniest and shocking grenade kills I've ever seen on film. Like, people in the audience were literally just like, oh, like laughing, and like some really funny deaths. Like, the very creative kills, I think is the best way to describe it.
Yeah.
And the whole sequence with the flamethrower was really cool.
Yes. I was laughing at the end when they're like dual flamethrowers shooting up in the air, spinning in a circle.
It's great. It's just, and just the fact that she's wearing like the flame retardant jacket was just a nice touch of like, you definitely want to have that on if you were doing that. But I felt like it brought a new flavor and kind of carved its own path.
Yeah.
This was from the director and writer of at least 2 of the Underworld movies from back in the day.
Yeah.
And I thought that was pretty apparent in the sense of like, you kind of just replace Lycans with these, this group that's just like killing for fun. Henchmen, right? So it felt a lot to me like an Underworld-esque. It had that flavor, but I could definitely tell that the John Wick stunt team and they came in, because I know there was reshoots. I know for a fact that the action missed the mark a little bit, and then they did a bunch of reshoots where they really John Wicked up the place. And so I think you get a nice blend of like that retro Kate Beckinsale style, like action heroine style stuff. But then you have the John Wick universe on a collision course with it to give it that sense of just the stylistic moves. I thought it lacked a little bit of the style of the John Wick movies in terms of like lighting was a big thing for me, and like color palette. The John Wick movies always look very polished, and they have this look to them, like almost like a neon-esque, like, I can't explain it, but when you see a John Wick movie, you know that you're watching a John Wick movie. And I felt like this movie was lacking a little bit of that.
This one definitely felt more along the lines of like the Underworld movies.
I think so. And not just because it's a female protagonist, but because there's a lot of that connective tissue in the directing and the writing. It just felt very much like, it almost felt like a spiritual successor in a weird way, and I couldn't shake it. But I didn't, not to say I didn't enjoy it, that was in the back of my mind. But yeah, Ana de Armas, she kicked ass. The fighting was quite good. There was a lot of like, people trying to hit their marks and stuff I noticed, but like, I don't really care that much because I'm watching a movie. I know that this isn't real life. So it's like, I don't want anybody to die in real life or get, seriously injured. So it's like, I just thought it was fantastic. It was probably one of the best action movies in the last little while. And the John Wick appearance, I didn't mind it, but it just didn't make sense to me because at the time this is happening, John Wick is like running for his life, right?
That's what I said. I was like, where is this in the timeline of these movies?
Right. So I'd read that it takes place in between like 3 and 4.
Okay.
But that doesn't really make sense to me because like...
I would say maybe more between like 1 and 2 would make more sense.
Yeah, like why is John Wick taking a contract in the middle of all of this? It doesn't make sense to me.
No, it made absolutely no sense. The guy's like running away for his life, like fighting the high table or whatever. Like he doesn't got time to go take this like one random contract.
No, and especially because like the entire high table would know that John Wick is there and no one does anything about it. So if John Wick's doing it as a personal favor, that doesn't make much sense either because it's just like, suddenly, then after that, he just goes back into hiding, and next thing we see, because at the beginning of John Wick 4, he's like recovering, right? Like he's getting ready to head back out there.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it's like,
that's the thing. It didn't need the John Wick cameo in it.
No.
It took away from it. Yeah.
Yeah, it did. And if you marathoned these movies and tried to squeeze Ballerina in there, it just really would feel like a disjointed mess. And it's because it just didn't need him, right? It didn't exist. But again, it's kind of like the Mission Impossible movie. It just didn't feel like they had that much confidence with what they were putting out there. Because if they had the confidence with what they were putting out there, then they wouldn't have had to do reshoots, and they wouldn't have had to call Keanu Reeves up and say, hey, can we bore you for a couple days?
Yeah.
we'll give you one action scene, you know?
I think the only other thing about this movie that I didn't like is I just was not crazy about who the villain was in this movie.
Yeah.
The whole idea that there's just this village of assassins out there that like live by a code. It just, I don't know. It just, everything felt so goofy to me. And it didn't make a lot of sense to me. Also, there was this whole thing where they were like, yo, you can never leave, or like they never explained who her parents were. Maybe they will in like a different movie, or if there is a part 2, you know, and they never exactly explained like what this like village is and what did they do and stuff. Like you just kind of get the sense that they're like another gang, or like a tribe is what they call them in the movies.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it didn't seem very menacing at all.
No.
You know, she kind of like walks
destroyed.
in and has her way with everybody in that village, where then you're just kind of like, okay, like I get that she has anger on her side, but to take out like almost an entire village, or just keep having your way with like goon after goon after goon, you're kind of like, I don't know. These people don't seem that intimidating, but
yeah, it strains credibility, like to basically like paper thin status.
Yeah.
That whole village felt like a Call of Duty map or something. Like it just had this weird video game vibe.
It did.
Like
it really did.
The layout of it, something about it just felt like a video game and not like a lived-in place. It's very strange. I don't know if that's a real set. I assume it's a real location, but it's wacky. It's a really weird place. And yeah, I thought it was annoying that there's a guy in a bell tower, or who can like basically see her the whole time, but chooses not to
like
shoot her.
Thousands of telescopes, but doesn't have like a sniper rifle or anything.
Yeah. Meanwhile, John Wick's basically looking at her the whole time through the scope of his rifle, and you're like, how badly do you guys actually want to kill her? Because it feels like you're just having fun.
And see, that's the thing that got me in this movie, is that there was a few too many moments like that where it just worked out a little too cute, you know? And you would be like, okay, like if this was any other movie, or if this was real life, you'd be like, no, like you wouldn't do that. And so in a movie that relies so heavily on like realistic action scenes to not have like a realistic plot kind of takes away from it.
Yeah.
But
I agree.
Still a good movie.
Yeah, exactly, right? Like I have that duality with it where I'm like, I can see all this movie's faults, but I'm actually like, I still enjoyed it like a lot. Like I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's just Ana de Armas or just like the John Wick style of gunplay, or like whatever it is, you know?
Just a girl holding a gun that just gets you going.
Yeah, geez, I'm a simple man at the end of the day. No? Even the gunplay in this one was a little bit less realistic compared to some of the John Wick stuff. I noticed there was one guy, I don't know if he was just like a extra or a day player. He was holding a pistol, but he had his hand like underneath the light mounted on it, like it was like a two-handed grip or something.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, I've literally never seen someone do that in my life, and I was like, that's not right.
Like he's holding a shotgun, but with like a handgun.
Yeah. Yeah,
Weird.
It was the strangest, and you would just never do that, right? Like, just a few things I noticed like that, where I'm like, okay, these movies are they got their reputation from the attention to firearms and details and all this stuff. And John, they both trained so hard only to have some like day playing extra hold a gun wrong. It's just like, hey, come on, guys, you have a reputation to protect here.
Yeah, no, and I wonder too if maybe they just didn't try as hard with this movie as they do with the John Wick movies, because it's just like, which I also can't understand why they would do this. If it's from the world of John Wick, like it needs to be at least on par with the movies, right?
Yeah.
So if you're gonna do one thing for one movie, you got to do it for the other, and like if you're gonna have insane realistic gun action, you're going to have to do it in this movie as well.
Yeah, exactly. And this movie, the budget was like more than double that of the first John Wick movie. Oh,
really?
So,
wow.
Yeah, so someone has some explaining to do.
Yeah.
The first John Wick movie, I don't think it even cracked 100 million at the box office, but it was a word of mouth thing, right? So
okay.
I hope this movie does better. I definitely think it deserves to do better, but I think people might be seeing it as another like quote unquote girl boss movie. And I don't think that's the case with this film. I really don't. Like, no. I actually think it slides into the universe quite well, but I think a vast majority of people, especially that enjoyed the John Wick franchise, might just be seeing it as like another like female usurping a male character action star thing. Like
you know
Marvel's
what?
been
And
doing.
if anyone has not seen this movie and that is what their like original thought is, I just want to go ahead and say that is not the case with this movie. Not at all. And if you were worried about that, don't be. Go out and see this movie. You'll enjoy it.
If you're really worried about that, John Wick kicks the heck out of her, okay? Like, if that's what you want,
Yeah.
John Wick literally gets the drop on her, beats the hell out of her,
Yeah.
could have killed her. So, there you go. Now go watch the film. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, pretty much.
Anyway, I enjoyed it. I recommend it. There's definitely worse ways to spend 2 hours. I'll say that.
Yeah, definitely.
Ooh, I think we did it, Aaron. I think we got through the whole list.
Wow, just 2 hours. Well, mine says 2 hours. What is yours? I think maybe we're a little under.
Yeah, I think it's about 2 hours. Definitely going to break this into 2 parts.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for listening to us ramble and talk about and get caught up with all these summer movies. Again, sorry we didn't drop one in May, but I hope this 2-parter makes up for it. Please leave us a rating. It helps us beat the algorithms. Be sure to check out our social media in the links in the notes attached to the episode. And Aaron, any other parting thoughts?
Just don't forget, if you need a friend to go see Friendship, I am available. I would love to be your friend, so please reach out.
Here's what you do. You go to the theater with a phone in each hand.
Yeah.
And you FaceTime Aaron and I on either hand. We'll be there.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, thanks for your patience, you guys. At some point in time here, we'll get back to a regular releasing schedule. But right now, we're just doing what we can when we can. And we're grateful that you would spend a couple hours listening to us talk.
Yes.
So until next time,
Definitely.
Keep fit, have fun. We'll see you on the next episode of In Defense of a Movie Podcast.
Bye.
Ah, don't spoil it. Do not spoil it. What's going on?